Alright guys, welcome back to Keeping Up with the X-Men. We are going to talk about X-Men Blue. This is issue 14, and this is back to the Mojo world. This is part 4. This has been the big crossover between X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue, which to me has been a really, really solid book. But rather than going on and on and on, let's just go ahead and get right into it, start talking about this. All right, we start with the news broadcast explaining for anybody that hasn't had the previous books, basically. This is common. You see it in animation, and you see it in an awful lot of comic books as well. It's one of those things where they just try to catch you up real quick. But that's basically what's going on, is they're like, hey, these things came down from the sky, and they're broadcasting this craziness, and the X-Men are trapped in basically some weird death trap game show, and we're watching, and blah, blah, blah. And then Mojo cuts them off. He's able to get his feed back. And he's like, oh, I didn't think these humans were this impressive, but I guess, they got pretty good technology, so I'm just going to have to keep my game up here, keep our broadcasts a-going. And then he goes to a toll where he talks about the death toll and how many X-Men have been lost and things of that nature, just kind of setting the stage before we get back into our first team here. Now, this is what's left of Team 2. This is Nightcrawler, Jimmy Hudson, Jean Grey, Colossus, and Hank McCoy, and they are fighting that weird brood invasion with Wolverine claws and mechanical apparatuses and so on and so forth, while at the same time dealing with some weird sentinel that's been infused with, like, Phoenix Force power. It's craziness. But anyways, during all this craziness, literally absolute craziness, it's hard to keep track of everything that's going, which is the way a battle like this would be. Well, Jean gets hit. She gets hit right through the back and across the shoulder blade. I believe it's her left shoulder. And then she ends up falling to the ground. And while she's falling to the ground, Jimmy jumps up into the air and slashes the crap out of this brood guy. Just completely annihilates him, shreds him into paste. And Nightcrawler grabs Jean and Jimmy, puts them back on the ground. And you got this moment between the two of them, which they're playing with tropes that we've seen before. Not that it's a bad thing, but not necessarily that it's a good thing either. I'm kind of the kind of person that would like to see these younger X-Men move in a less traditional sense and kind of be able to do things that are outside of what we've already seen, while allowing the original X-Men to deal with the stuff that they have dealt with and will deal with. Like, you always know that Colossus and Kitty are going to get together and they're going to break up and they're going to get together and break up. It's just something they do. And we've already seen this whole love triangle thing where Jean Grey is attracted to Wolverine. She's attracted to Logan. But that didn't mean that she loved Logan. It took a long time for there to be an actual relationship. And even then, I've never been the kind of person to feel like they actually had a legitimate, powerful relationship. I know a lot of people want it. I know a lot of people have begged for this relationship. They see the Wolverine Jean thing, and that's what they want. And then there's a lot of people that like the Scott and Jean thing. There's a lot of people that like the Scott and Emma thing. And there's always going to be debate here. But I feel like they're trying to throw this one a little too hard, that the young Jean is attracted to Jimmy, but she kind of loves Scott. And now she's kind of falling for both men at the same time, and it's going to be the same love triangle we've seen all these years, and we're just going to play it out again with younger characters basically the same way again. And I'm not 100% keen on that, but I see where they're going, and I'll give it a chance. I'll see if the younger characters can at least make it a little more believable as to who she picks and why, and we'll see where that goes. Anyways, it is during all this madness that Mojo brings more pillars down to the ground, more antennas. And as he does this, we actually get Polaris, Danger, and Magneto that have come to the field. Now, Magneto is revealing himself to the world right here. He is supposed to be dead, and of course with X-Men and most other comics of any genre, we know that dead is not dead. We just know this. We're not stupid. We've seen this all before. Everybody knew Magneto was not dead, even before he showed up to guide the X-Men Blue. Everybody knew Magneto was not dead. And any X-Man that was dumb enough to believe that he was dead is dumb. Dumb X-Men is dumb. Magneto's not dead. We knew he wasn't dead. The world should have known he wasn't dead. Here he is revealing himself. And they get stuck in this weird pillar antenna technology thing, the same as everybody else has in the X-Men so far, and they get transported to the Morlock tunnels. We are now going to transition back to Team 1. Now this right now consists of Rachel Summers, Longshot, Scott Summers, and Kitty Pryde. They are currently stuck fighting the Avengers in the X-Men vs. Avengers or Avengers vs. X-Men event thing that took place. They're holding their own pretty good, but they know that they can't keep this up forever, so they ask that Longshot use his technology to get them out of there. And he does. He works on it for a little while, takes him a minute, but they transport away, and when they do, Mojo is not very happy about this situation. He's a tad bit irritated. And he starts screaming at his producers and things like that, wondering what they're doing. Why are they messing up? How's their incompetence? Where are they? Find my X-Men. And then we cut back to the sewers again, the Morlock tunnels, where Magneto is just taking the crap out of these Morlocks that stand no chance whatsoever against him, and then Apocalypse walks onto the scene. We don't really get a chance to see where that goes because we go directly back to the X-Men. The X-Men are still fighting in that weird Savage Land thing, and Beast decides he's got to get them out of there. They can't continue fighting. They're going to lose this fight. He's going to get them out of there. And what he ends up doing is he ends up trying to open this portal thing, and if he gives into magic, he reverts into that white bestial form that we saw in the previous books. And they're not 100% sure if he'll lose himself to this, if he'll become some kind of monster. Jean doesn't want him doing this. But before he really has a chance to commit to what he was going to do, they just rain down optic blasts. Cyclops saves the day. Bum, 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 boom. And then right after that, we have our reunion between these characters where they use Longshot to teleport them out of that area and into somewhere. When he teleports them, he tells them pretty quick, he's like, I'm not 100% sure where we are. I mean, it kind of seems familiar, but I'm not 100% sure where we are. And Scott and Jean share a little bit of a moment where he tells her, I can feel that you're hurt. He's like, I can feel it through that psychic rapport. And she's like, I'm fine, let's move on. Well, Jimmy forces open this door, or at least that's what it looked like he did, because he popped his claws. We don't get to see the action, but I'm assuming he cut through the door because Wolverine stuff. And they find the X-Men in these weird stasis pod things, the guys that had died, Iceman, Old Man Logan, which I still am iffy about the Old Man Logan thing. I feel like it should have taken more to take him out than one sword stab. But maybe because his death was fake, that's the reason it didn't take as much as it should have. And for that matter, Iceman as well. He was kind of gunned down. And there were just little things that led me to be like, I don't think these X-Men are dead. And sure enough, they're not. But we know that they felt like they died, because even Bloodstorm makes the comment that she died again. She knows what dying feels like, and she knows she just died again. Well, before we really have too much time to process everything that we've been given in this issue, they walk outside to find out that they are on the Mojoworld. And Mojo recalls the pillars from New York, the antennas. So that's where we leave off. We leave off in a pretty crazy spot where now the X-Men are in quote, real life. They're in Mojoworld. And the book kind of leaves us right there, making us, kind of giving us the chance to wonder what is coming next. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because now we've set it up that we can have a competition with Mojo. And now the stakes are final. He even tells them that. He says, at this point, there's no more resurrections, there's no more second chances. If I kill you now, you are dead. So you came here, you did this, you brought this on yourself, your turn, now the game is for keeps. I enjoyed this issue. I still enjoy X-Men Blue and Gold, of all the X-Men titles, the most. I don't know if I could put all of these in order as to where I'm thinking, but maybe I could. Maybe that could be a video later on, is just to take these and tell you how I rate the X-Men universe at its current titles and where I put them. Now, I want to address something before we leave here tonight. There are a couple of books coming out, and I already cover quite a few books on this channel, so I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to be covering Legion. And I'm going to keep my eyes on Generation X to see if that works out, if it's really worth us talking about. If any of these books become questionable to the point where I'm simply not enjoying them, I will warn you ahead of time. I'll be dropping them. I'm not going to go out of my way to do this. Like, I have enough money, I have enough things set back, all my stuff is taken care of to where I can afford these books, and I have been buying them, and I do enjoy them, and I give books a fair chance. But if one of these books starts to get bad, I will not hesitate to drop it, but I will keep you informed if my updates for specific books are going to die. And so far, the ones that are on the chopping block is Cable and Generation X. The only reason is because Cable is very much like this weird 1980s cliche action drama thing, which is kind of fun, so that's what's keeping my attention, is I see that they're not taking it too seriously, and at the same time, Generation X, I just simply don't know those characters. So I'm going to give myself some time to see if I can care about those characters, if the stories can pick up, if they can make me enjoy it. But I'm not adding Legion. Legion is about to come out. I will not be adding Legion. However, I will be adding the Gambit and Rogue book, or Rogue and Gambit. I'm not sure which it was. I know there's a team-up book between those two. They're going to carry their own title, and I will be getting that. I'll also be getting the Resurrection of Jean Grey, and I'll also be getting an interesting book which covers kind of the history of the X-Men. And I will have to look up what that is. I honestly can't remember offhand, like sitting right here. But you guys are now all caught up with the X-Men Blue. See you later.